Hey, welcome back everyone. Chapter 43 here on my RLDR Custom Creations YouTube channel. And today we're going to get buff-ing. Just stay tuned and watch. You'll find out. Well, as the introduction stated, today's topic is going to be about buffing. However, we're not actually going to buff anything today. We are just going to take a look at my buffing system and then how I managed to mount it in a way that saved me a few square feet of valuable floor space in my shop. So let's get into it. First of all, this machine I built to use in school. That was the plan. I actually built it in 2017, so it's a few years old already. 2017 was a pretty good year, and then 2018 I got sick, and that started events that made it so this machine never really got used. Talk about silly policies. If I built a tool, I couldn't use it with students at school. The whole liability thing, which is, in my opinion, ridiculous, but that's another topic for another video. So when I got this into my shop, it kind of went from place to place. I didn't really have a home for it. Like a few tools in here don't really have a home yet. And one of the problems was I had it sitting horizontally. So this machine, it's about 2 feet there and 3 feet there. So it was occupying 6 square feet of floor space in here. And as I alluded to in one of my earlier videos, that in this shop it really is a game of inches, that is exactly true. And I just didn't have anywhere to put that 6 square feet in this shop. So as I was doing my disc sander, getting that stand set up like I showed in the previous video, I started looking at this area here, and this wall kind of intrigued me. And I thought, well, what about if a guy would change things around a bit and mount it vertically? And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, hey, that's a great idea. And then I started doing a little bit of the math. So now there's certain things you can't really do anything about. Like this machine is 3 feet wide, because of the length of the mandrel, or whatever that is, yeah, the shaft. So that couldn't change, but the other way could, to a degree. So now this distance is somewhat flexible, because what I haven't done yet is, you see, if I pull this little spacer out, it actually goes into the wall. But what I don't like about that is that I think that would eventually put a flat spot in the buffs, and I don't want that to happen. So what I can see eventually happening with this setup is I'll put a block on a hinge, and then when you lift it out, it'll fall into place and you can rest it. This is 4.5 inches, and I think actually it's perfect. So, and that puts the buffs about, well, it depends where you put it. I've got it a little higher than, or a little lower than I had it before. I was shooting for about 2.5 inches from the wall to the back of the buff. So I think that should all be good. But the way that's set up, we're at 16 inches. So at 16 inches by 3 feet compared to 24 inches at 3 feet, basically I'm saving 2 square feet. So we go from 6 square feet in total to 4 square feet. And 2 square feet in here is huge. Plus, I still have the floor occupied with this roller tool chest that I'm going to leave here and put my guitar tools in. So I managed to use this space way more efficiently by mounting this on the wall as opposed to mounting it on a table or a stand. So I like this setup in this shop. Now, how I did it, it's really quite simple. I wanted to have a good solid ledger strip here. So I just happened to have a piece of maple that was just barely long enough to cover this wall here. And I wanted to go along the whole wall. I know there's 3 studs here and 2 studs there. And I used beastly long screws. I think they're 4.5 inch screws. And they are in there. That is solid. And then this wall is actually sheeted as well. So it's got 7/16 OSB under the drywall. So I put a couple more screws in just into the OSB to add some support. I haven't capped these yet because I want to make sure that I'm happy with things before I do it. But the way it is now, I can't see it changing. So I should have plugged those. The cord I need to, it'll get tucked in nicely. And then there's a plug-in right behind the buff. I don't think you can see it on the video, but it's right there. And that's gonna work out exceptionally well. So yeah, the mounting, pretty straightforward. Just hang it on a wall instead of having it on a table. Pretty simple. And it saves me a significant number of square feet. So that's really good. Now, right now it's a little tight in this corner. One of my student lathes is sitting here just for no particular reason, and that's gonna move. And the bathroom door is right here. So if I'm buffing, I can always open the door if I need to, okay, if I need a little bit of space for it to go in. So I think it's going to work quite good here. When I was setting this up, the height became quite important. I wanted to be able to keep my picture up here, vanity, yes, I know. And I also wanted to be able to get the lower part of this toolbox, rolling toolbox underneath as well. Plus I figured about this height here. If I'm grabbing a guitar and kind of lock my elbows into the side, and that would be exactly the right height. So I managed to accommodate that all. I believe this is 5 feet from the floor to here, and I think it worked out really well. The hinges that I used to mount the buffer to the ledger strip are just standard 4-inch house hinges. Because the exterior walls on all my buildings, the shop and the house, are 11 inches thick. I have to build my own door jambs for those, so I've got hinges lying around here, stuff that I've changed out over the years. And these are just standard 4-inch hinges, and I mounted them so that the pins point towards each other, so they can't just ravel or slide out one way. But to mount the hinges, to cut the gain, yeah, I could have taken a chisel and my mallet, and I could have done that, but for hinges, I'm a router person. I just cut a jig. It's so much faster for me just to make a jig from scratch and cut it out on the bandsaw, and then away we go. So this took me minimal time to make, minimal effort, and it cut really, really nice tight gain for each of the hinges. So I cut it in the back side. This is 2 layers of 3/4 MDF, which is very, very similar, in fact, to the plan that Stuart McDonald's has on their website. In fact, this is, I'm pretty sure, although 2017, my memory isn't that good, I'm pretty sure I basically copied that, but kept my equipment in mind. Like I didn't drill the holes all the same places they did, but I think I kept the outside measurements very similar. So I just took this jig and put the hinges on, and I screwed them in. I've got really, really good holding screws. They're all 1-inch screws, so I think that should work fairly well. So yes, I'm very happy with the way it mounted. The power's handy, the switch is right there, You know, it's all really up front. And one of the things I like about this, and I incorporated these things into my buffer. Normally, if it would just be me in this shop, I would not have put this guard on, nor these safety rules. But it's looking like I may have the opportunity to continue teaching in this shop. Now, when I built this shop, because there's even a bathroom in it, I had always planned to have other people in here. But my thought was more hosting classes. I hadn't given much thought to teaching them. But there is potential, let's put it that way. Nothing's for sure yet, but it may exist that I'd have an opportunity to teach classes through a couple of the organizations I belong to, and maybe even some local classes as well. So my goal is to try to keep this place busy, having people in it. So that way, all this safety stuff is really important. But I really like I don't have to reach over anything. When I had it horizontally, you got to reach over to get to the switch. Now you got your guitar in your hand and you just, and away you go. It's all close by. So I really like this setup. I've never seen anything quite like this. So maybe that's an idea for somebody else out there. So let's talk a little bit about the buffer itself. As I said, it's basically very much a direct copy of Stuart McDonald's plans that they have on their website. And I have mentioned how much I love Stuart McDonald's already, so I won't do that again. But their willingness to put information on has helped me immensely. But basically, let's start with the main shaft here. In this, I used 1-inch main material or shaft material for this. I made this myself. I didn't machine the shaft, but there's 6 inches of threading on each end, and I have a metal lathe here, but that's one thing I've never done is I've never cut thread, and I'm going to learn how to yet. But a friend of mine has a 1-inch die with a nice long handle. And yeah, it was a bit of work. I worked hard cutting that 1 foot of thread, but it worked out really well. So I made the shaft myself. I spent way too much time looking for an alternative for the wheel backers, okay, like these pieces here. Finally, I just ended up ordering them from Stuart McDonald, and that's worked really well. You can probably see I have 2 nuts on the outside edge. Don't ask me why. I think I just had 2 extras and I needed to put them somewhere. Technically, I guess theoretically, I could argue that they lock everything in place, but I don't think that's a big concern. So, yeah, the buffs. These are 14-inch Stuart McDonald buffs. And when I started this, I assumed that I didn't know what these things were like. I assumed that people just ordered 1 buff for each side and away they went. And then I found out, doing a bit more research, that often they were running 2 and 3 buffs side by side on one end of the machine. So I ordered another 2 right away, and so I have 2 on this side and 2 on this side. And that I think is going to work, is going to work quite well. Like I say, I haven't really used this machine a whole lot yet, and I haven't buffed a guitar on it either. So, okay, let's look at the rest of it. 3/4 horse motor, one I had kicking around here. For some reason, I have a 3/4 horse, a 1 horse, and a 1.5 horse electric motor in the shop. And as far as I know, I only have 1 tool that I need to repower yet, and that's my vacuum pump for my vacuum bag, which has to go somewhere in here yet too. But anyway, with the 3/4 horse motor I stuck on here. And another thing from my teaching days is a mag start. Now I had bought a number of these mag starts. I think I bought them in bunches of 10 from Busy Bee. This was before the school shop had all its equipment replaced. So I'm not even sure where this switch came from. It might have been one that I had left over from something. So I don't know if it is one of the ones I got from Busy Bee or not. Anyway, but it is a mag start, which is important if I have students in here. So that's basically, and then the wiring I just did. This is pretty heavy cord. I always try to wire things as heavy as I can. I think that's the best. Okay, so we got the switch, the motor. Let's look at the guts of this thing. And I've got two knobs here that just unscrew. Like I think these are Lee Valley knobs. And there, it's coming. It's always slow. There. And then this just comes off like this. Okay, it's a little temperamental. There we go. Okay. Now, I'm not sure about the math on this. The Stuart McDonald one runs about 700 RPM. And without doing the math in my head, I've got about 3 inches and 6 inches. 1725 motor, probably close to that. So, and I'm pretty sure when I built this thing, I would have done that accurately. So the pulleys are the closest I could get to get it to run at what Stuart McDonald said theirs ran. And the pulleys here are from Princess Auto. For my American viewers, and thank you so much, my friends to the south of the border. Most of my views come from you guys, so thank you. Harbor Freight would be the American equivalent to Princess Auto. I know there are other Canadians on there that talk about Princess Auto, so you may already know that. But Princess Auto isn't anywhere near the size that Harbor Freight is. So, but they're good, and like these pulleys, they're pretty good. They're cheap pulleys, but they do the job. This isn't running at high RPM and very precise. This is low and slow. The pillow blocks here are from Princess Auto as well, and they have Zerks installed in them, so I should grease this thing once. I don't know if I've ever done that. And what I did to raise it so that I could get the pulley in here is I set it on 2 pieces of 2x2 that looks like about 1/8 wall, so 125 wall steel tube, and I could bolt it through and then bolt this onto that. Now this this backer board here is actually 2 layers of 3/4 MDF. So with the 3/4 MDF, I could bolt everything to it, and then I screwed another piece onto it to give it more heft. And this has worked out really well. Just to kind of see how this works as, you know, everything's nice and smooth and safe, and if I wasn't teaching people in here, I probably would have left it like that. But this is better. So we're just going to slide this back on and put these back on. This always takes time. And to tighten the belt, I just need to slide the motor up a little bit now. So the belt actually doesn't look as bad. I thought maybe it was a little loose. Sorry, I got my back to the camera here. You're getting the good side. Oh, come on. Oops. Thought I had it. Okay. So yeah, that's my buffing machine. Now for compounds, this is a white compound and it's fine. So I've got this wheel with fine compound and this wheel right now with medium compound, the red. So, like I said, I don't have any practical experience running this yet. I've taken all the information that I know about buffing from Stuart McDonald's website, but I intend to get into that. It didn't always work out at school to buff things because we constantly ran out of time. So, but when we're building guitars in my shop, or when I'm building guitars in my shop, the finish is going to get buffed because I like things shiny. So anyway, yeah, this whole shop is in kind of a state of change right now. This area here is going to become my guitar area. The upper part of this tool chest is going to sit on the counter there with more guitar tools and parts in it, because I do have quite a bit of stuff. My guitar wood, I think, is going to end up on my little mezzanine here eventually. Right now I have jigs and templates up there, but that's going to go because I've already thought of a better way to do that. So, and then I have my fret saw, which needs to come on here yet, and that's something I'm going to talk about yet too, because it's kind of unique. And but yeah, it's like I said, we're in a game of inches here, and I'm kind of winning the battle. So with that in mind, I think we're kind of at the end of this video. By the way, if you're watching these videos and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It costs you nothing and it would sure help me out. I realize that when I look at my analytics, the vast majority of people that are watching my channel are not subscribed. That seems to be a common problem with all the YouTubers that I watch. They make this plea regularly. The smart TV issue. I went and looked at that a couple evenings ago, and with the smart TV, what I found I had to do is I had to go to the channels, to their home page on their channel, and then you could subscribe there. So go to RLDR Custom Creations, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, the varying content, I think that's maybe a theme that will continue. I'm hoping that eventually, I know when I follow people, I don't just follow because I enjoy the content. I kind of have a little bit more of a personal relationship with them, and I'm sure hoping that I can provide the type of content and present it in such a way that you'd consider me worthy of you doing that. So anyway, with that in mind, please like and subscribe, and we will see you towards the end of this week again. And all the best during the week, and have a good week, everybody. And I know I always put it in my ending on these videos, but thank you for watching.